Welcome to TacosandGeeks.com. Justin here, and today we're going to be reviewing Robotech, the Macross Saga, the HD edition for the Nintendo Switch. As always, I give you a brief synopsis, so here we go. Jump into the transformable Veritech fighter and blast your way through the entire legendary 1980s anime series Robotech and a side-scrolling shooter that will test the most hardened pilots. Follow the story of the war against the Zentradi, unlocking special characters and etching your name next to the great pilots of the series like Rick Hunter and Roy Fokker. This was a complete surprise that dropped on the Nintendo Switch a couple of weeks ago. This is actually the remake or remastered HD version of a Game Boy Advance game, and later on I'm going to show you a graphical comparison of these games. So these are the characters that you can use: Rick Hunter, Roy Fokker, Max, Miriam, Ben, and if you play the game and unlock everything, you get to play as a chicken. Now let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. Now, if you played the previous game for the Game Boy Advance, this is exactly the same way. The controls are the same. It feels a little bit more fluent, and the challenges seems to be a little bit more harder, but for the most part this is exactly the same game. And if you played any type of side scroll shooter, you know you have to obviously dodge bullets. And the great thing about this is also you're able to switch different modes of your Veritech. You get to go into Guardian mode, and you get to go into the Battleoid mode, as you're going to see right here. I switched to my Battleoid mode, and you have to know when to switch to the modes. That's where the challenge comes into play. Sometimes the Guardian mode is the best fit for a certain level. Sometimes the battle mode is certain when the enemies are on the floor. So definitely gameplay, I really did enjoy it. But they do give you more stuff to do as well, especially with certain episodes such as the Bye Bye Mars episode. They switch things up. You're not always going to be in the side scrolling. You now have kind of like this crawler type of mech fighter from like things like Mech Warrior, where you're able to go into a different type of suit and actually have to go to different missions and go to different sites where you blow up things. And actually the controls work very smooth. It's kind of tank controls. It works, but for the most part, it gives a little bit of variety there, so you don't have to feel like you're constantly, the game doesn't feel repetitive. I did like this edition. It also isn't original, but it looks way more gorgeous here compared to the Game Boy Advance, and it just feels a lot more smoother with better frame rate, better lighting, and everything else. So we're actually going to talk about that right now, because we're going to get into graphics. Now, as you can see on the top here is the original Game Boy Advance compared to the Nintendo Switch HD remake. Obviously, the HD remake is completely superior, straight from the use of colors to the textures to the lighting, just to the frame rate as well. From the sound design, the graphics is just 100% better. This is what I'm hoping we'll get to see later on in the future, is more Game Boy Advance HD remakes. The developers did a really great job of capturing this game and keeping it in music. Here's a little bit of music.
Every day we dream of winning and beginning.
If you hear that, you have the actual Robotech soundtrack from the show. No longer in like standard 16-bit sound. You actually have Reba West's voice in the We Will Win song for the We Will Win episode. It is absolutely phenomenal. I love that inclusion. It worked very, very well for me. So we're going to go into the final rating. 4 stars for this. This was an amazing HD remake. It just did light years better than the Game Boy Advance. It's still the same game. It's still enjoyable. It's still challenging as hell. But the fact that they added more production to it when it comes to the graphics, design, and the sound quality. The sound made this just feel like you're in the anime. And if those who are huge Robotech fans, you know that this definitely nails it. I can't stress this enough. It's only $9.99. Pick it up. It is a nice surprise for the Nintendo Switch. I definitely recommend it. This is definitely 4 out of 5 stars. This is Justin from TacosandGeeks.com. I will catch you on the next review. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Visit TacosandGeeks.com. You can follow us on Instagram at @TacosandGeeks, Twitter @TacosandGeeks, and Facebook.com/TheTacosandGeeks blog. Later days.